So welcome everyone to the second presentation, and this one will be a bit more detailed, I'd say, and we're going to focus on a specific question: which subscription model is the best for e-commerce? We have two candidates, so subscription only and hybrid. So we're going to try and answer from our two perspectives, and if there is no clear winner, then we'll try and give some hints on how to make the decision. I hope I didn't reveal too much. So my name is Piotr, and I'm Chief Strategy Officer at Sublime. So I will represent that perspective today.
And I'm Maciej Baranowski, the Chief Experience Officer at PsiBufet.
Okay, let's start with the agenda. So we'll start with explaining what are those two models in detail, and give some data, some benchmarks on how they work, and finally how we would go about choosing them. So this will be an overview, and then Maciej will take over to explain the journey that PsiBufet took and their decisions and whether they regret it in the end. And some key takeaways that we would like to leave you with. And if there is time, which I doubt, we will try and take some questions. Okay, before we jump in, I would like to say that my part will have some data, and this data will not be PsiBufet's data. So we will not reveal that much, but all of this will be based on some averages that we calculated across our customer portfolio. So this will be averaged around on different categories and actually two markets. So mostly Polish market, but also data from the US market. Okay, so what are these two models? The subscription only is pretty obvious. So just a few points. So in subscription-only model, each order is treated as a subscription. In other words, every customer is a subscriber, and payments, recurring payments, payment for recurring orders are automated. So this can be a digital wallet, this can be a card option, but they are automated. Hybrid is a bit more complicated, so we have both options. We have a subscription order, and we have a one-time order or one-off order. Subscription payments are usually automated, just like in the subscription-only model, but sometimes businesses have a different option. For instance, a customer has to confirm the recurring charge before actually the charge is made. So if there is that option, we treat it as a hybrid model. One-time payments are classical, so performed manually by the customer. And in terms of the offering of what customers can purchase and how, there's two distinct options. So in the first one, there is a clear distinction of one-time products that can be purchased only in this form, and separately from that, there are subscription products or deals. And the other scenario, which is probably more popular, is that each and every product can be purchased either as a subscription or as a one-off purchase. In terms of the numbers, so which one is more popular, we don't have a market-wide data for that, so we will focus on our customer sample. And when we look at our customers, do you want to guess what's the more popular model here? Okay, and in terms of percentages? Some guess?
Percentages of how much more popular hybrid
Yeah.
is to
Okay, so actually in our portfolio, 80% of are actually hybrid models, and subscription only are a clear minority. But not every hybrid model is the same. So when we look at the share of subscription revenue in a hybrid model, then this varies vastly. So there are companies that have less than 5% of subscription revenue, And on the other side, there's companies that go well above 50%. So what draws these companies into subscription? So previous session talked a lot about that, but I want to go into a bit more detail and a bit more on the number side. So first reason is retention, and we saw some basic numbers. When we have customers that are running hybrid models, we like to visualize them how much the retention part is an advantage in subscription part. So this is the chart that we'd like to present them as soon as possible. So this actually shows the retention curves for both subscribers and non-subscribers. And in that chart, you can see what's the percentage of each customer type that is reaching a certain number of orders. So how many make 2 orders, how many reach 4 orders and 6 orders. And we can easily see that the subscriber curve is much higher. When we look at a real life example, and let's take second orders per customer, we see that the difference is 70 for subscribers, 70% reach second order, while non-subscribers reach only 14% of non-subscribers make a second order. And when we average this out on our portfolio, then we see that these numbers are pretty significant, and the difference grows with each and every order, reaching even 10 to 30 times higher retention at fifth order. So if you're a subscription-only business, you can expect those kind of purple lines in your retention curves. If you're a hybrid, you will be somewhere in between the red one and the purple one. So retention was one feature of subscription. The other one was stability and predictability. And when we like to show that on a graph and visualize it, we look at the return rates for these two groups of customers. And when I say return rate, I mean what percentage of customers return to make another order at a particular time. So we see, for instance, that subscribers or subscription orders in the dark blue, 47% of them come back for another order in the second month after acquisition. Then similar amount in the fourth month. Whereas the one-off orders are much less predictable. It's not really clear when is the best time for these customers to come back. So it's really harder to judge what is their current intent and how we should communicate with those customers. And with subscribers, this returning concentrates around the time that their subscription renews.
These are all based on your customer averages in Poland?
Yes, and not 100%,
But almost.
80% Poland, 20% US. But it's not that much different. I mean, these curves are very similar.
I'm sorry, how do you explain that this varies so much? I mean, people don't like odd numbers or what?
I guess in this particular case, a natural thing is to subscribe for 2-month subscription. And this breaks around after 6 months. So it's less predictable after that, but in those first period, you can really predict when the customer should be coming back. And if he's not, then there is the right moment to do something about it and to prevent churn.
Make it for 3 rather than for 2.
Also, yes. And of course, this all translates into value. So when we want to show value, we show customer lifetime value curves that show how much customers build value over time. And for subscribers, these lines are always steeper. So they may start similarly at the first order, but the retention really works here. So after 6 or 10 or 12 months, we see that subscribers are worth much more than our one-time customers. And again, if you're a subscription-only customer, you may expect these steep curves for all of your customers. If you're a hybrid, depending on how much subscription business you have, this will be somewhere in between those two lines. So these are all good sides of the subscription part, but it's not all rosy, and there is the dark side also. And as it was already said, subscribers are easier to retain, to monetize, but they are harder to acquire. And for this, we've also gathered data in order to compare this subscription-only model versus hybrid model. And we looked at three main metrics. So for lifetime value, we see that subscription-only models are 1 to 1.5 to 3.5 times higher, which is to be expected because there is a higher retention, higher predictability, and in the end, higher lifetime value. When we look at conversion rates, and this is a conversion rate for first purchase, we see that on the other hand, hybrid models are better. So there is a 2 to 3 times higher conversion for a hybrid model, and on the other side, subscription-only models have a lower conversion rates. And these lower conversion rates for subscription-only translates into, most likely, into customer acquisition cost. So on average, CAC for subscription-only models can be 1 to 3 times higher. And when we try to combine all this number, the overall conclusion is that there is no clear winner, that there is a scenario that subscription-only model will be better, or a scenario where a hybrid model can be better. And to find out which will be better in each case, we have to make some effort, and we have to consider a few factors, but it is worth it. Like this consideration, this testing part is really worth taking time, because getting subscription rights can offer really big advantages. So a few words on how this decision-making process could look like. So in the first step, if we want to find the value for company from subscription, we also have to find the value for customer. And as mentioned before, a good place to start is to try and see what are we offering our customers when we're giving them subscription. Is it a curation service? So we're giving them repetitive personalized experience, and that's how they will enjoy our subscription. Or maybe we're more in the replenishment part, so our product is more of a commodity which is needed every day, and we are offering the automation of the purchase. And maybe there is a third option, that we're having some limited editions of our products. We have members-only perks, and this is value enough for customers to subscribe to our subscription. If we do that kind of analysis, and the best way to do it is to ask your customers, to talk to your prospects and get a sense of how they are consuming your products, how they are finding value. The next part is to confirm that with your data. And most of our customers, when making a decision about subscription model, already had a plenty of data to get some understanding. So what we recommend is to analyze the purchasing patterns of your customers, and specifically to look at 5 things. First one is the time distribution between orders. So we're trying to find that kind of scenarios, that kind of products, where customers come back in weeks or months. If it's more than 6 months, it will be really hard to make this a subscription. Also, we're looking for regularities. So every 2 months, every 3 months. If we're finding that in our purchasing data, then this is a good sign that we can make a subscription out of this. The other analysis is to look at the carts. So if our customers are picking one or two products and they are just playing with the quantity of that product, or they are choosing some combinations. And if they are combinations, again, if this is a combination of product 1 and 2 and it always repeats, or does it look like every customer wants to have their own combination and personalize their cart? The third thing worth looking at is product transition between orders. So ideally, we would be looking at customers sticking to a product over time, over a repeated number of orders, which will make more sense for them to subscribe to that product. Retention rates by first order products. So if we have a product that after purchasing makes customers come back, then this is a natural candidate for a subscription, and we should start with that. And finally, we should look at retention rate by first order payment method. So we may start off with a few payment methods, and we want to look if any of them are real pain points that will be an issue if we run a subscription. And finally, when we have the conclusions on the value, when we've analyzed our data, it's time to decide on the model. And there are two thumb rules that we can follow. So if we see a lot of value in subscription, either curation or replenishment, and our purchasing patterns confirm that users are behaving how we expect them to behave, then this is a sign that we can go subscription only. But there will be instantly a battle to take for effective customer acquisition, because if we go subscription only, we're going to have issues convincing customers to subscribe to our product. On the other hand, if we don't have a clear subscription value, or we think we have, but the purchasing patterns do not confirm that, then it's probably better to start with hybrid. But again, if we do that overnight, then we're going to run into other type of problem, which will be convincing customers to subscribe instead of buying one time where they have that option. And yeah, with that decision process, I'd like to move this to Maciej.
Okay. Thanks, Piotr. Okay, hi everyone. Super happy to be here today to share the story of PsiBufet with you. We've already had a lot of theory, a lot of data, so no worries. This time, I will just show you a case study that will contain all of it in practice. But before we start, just a quick warm-up, energizer, and let's not talk about the business for a while, but let's talk about dogs. Do we have any dogs owners in-house here? Yay, quite a lot. Do we have any active or former customers of PsiBufet here? Yeah, Wojtek, we're still waiting for Bekon to come back. So, okay, that shows there's...
I see your ads constantly.
Why are you not buying? Oh, yeah, we're everywhere. This still shows there is quite a lot of potential for new customers, so hopefully this presentation will also encourage you to buy PsiBufet. But before we start, let's talk a little bit about the company for a while. So PsiBufet was founded in 2016 by my friend Piotr, and the mission of the company was to introduce the new category of dog food in Poland, which we call fresh, and by that to improve the quality of lives of dogs in Poland. Now, the important thing is that this year we have been acquired by Butternut Box, the company that does the very same thing in United Kingdom, Ireland, then Belgium and Netherlands. So right now we are present in 5 markets, and our mission and our main goal right now is to revolutionize the pet food industry by just creating a better, healthier product that is home-cooked, is delivered straight to customers' doors, and is tailored based on the individual dog's needs. So if we look at our unique case, we consider PsiBufet to be a very long-term product that we think our customers should buy for a long period of time. And we are not thinking about months here, but about years. And the reason for that is, to base it on what has already been told today, is that when we look on the product from the curation perspective, all experts, veterinarians, and animal institutions say that it's just recommended not to change the dog food too often, at least every 6 weeks, and it's just better for the dog if the dog eats the same food for a longer period of time, because otherwise it just has a bad effect on the digestion and allergic reactions. Secondly, what we see as PsiBufet and as butternut box, we also see that the dogs that are fed with PsiBufet over a longer period of time experience some positive things such as better digestion, shinier coat, healthier skin. In general, the dog is healthier, has a longer and a happier life, which is our goal. And as from the replenishment perspective, what we are doing is we are providing cyclic deliveries of daily consumable goods. So we just take over the responsibility of feeding the dog, and we do it for the customer. So looking at these 3 reasons, it's safe to say that dog food is a natural use case for a subscription model. And as it was already said, like PsiBufet is a pure subscription-only business. So we don't allow our customers to buy if they do not provide the card information. However, it has not always been the case. And let me just take you through our journey, a story of a bold decision that we made more than 2 years ago, its consequences and results. But back in May 2021, we were a business that was also offering subscriptions. So we would create subscription for each new customer. But then it was possible to pay for the subscription with one-time payment methods. So the way it was working, you would pay for the first order, however you would like, whether be it like BLIK, P24, or credit card, because we also allowed our customers to create like a pure subscription at that time. But we would like schedule next boxes and ask our customers to pay for them like about 3-4 days before the order. Now, one thing that was mentioned today is that the subscription has a great advantage for businesses because it gives like predictability. So we know how many boxes we'll ship or exactly like what the revenue will be. And back in those days, we didn't know. So the thing that we were experiencing were very low retention rates. Customers were forgetting to pay. We would have like, 1,000 planned boxes. We would ship 300 because 700 of them were not paid. And we also had a lot of, like unique cases where a customer would call in and would just beg us to like ship the box because they just forgot to pay for the box and the dog didn't have any food and we would need to like, pack, exactly. Pack something like, a tough situation from the ops perspective. At the same time, we were like paying a lot of attention to our data using Sublime. And what we saw was that we had this cohort of customers who would pick the credit card as their first payment method. They had fabulous retention rates. Their LTV were like super great. But there was one problem. And if we present one-time payment methods to customers, like 9 out of 10 times, the customer will not pick the credit card because it's just easier to pay with BLIK. It's like takes a second or two. Also, we are not storing our credit card information nowhere on the internet. So there are a lot of customers that we had back in those days that would pick the card payment, but as they were offered BLIK and other alternatives, they just didn't want to pay with card. So we were getting like 1 out of 10 customers. So we came up with something very simple, and it's something that hasn't been mentioned today when we were talking about the benefits of subscriptions for the customers, because there is one great benefit of subscriptions for the customer that the customer is not actually aware of, and it's the fact that the subscription takes away the pain of paying. And what we came up with is that paying hurts. And the main reason why we were losing customers was because that they were supposed to log in, pay about 250 zloty for the box, and do it every 2 to 4 weeks.
I heard a story that the dog stopped eating your buffet. Just with time, it started to eat, but with time it stopped tasting you, and that's why.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that happens. Like we are completely aware of the fact that some of the dogs don't like our food. Also, there are picky dogs that lose their interest in time. But yeah, that's it's let's agree. We also have churn. I'll be honest.
Quite posh dog, which eats also sushi, and maybe
yeah, that's if a dog eats sushi, the owner is doing something wrong. So yeah, that's a fact.
Dogs eat credit cards then.
Yeah, they should. But yeah, paying hurts. Nothing too obvious. This was discovered. This is a concept in behavioral economics crafted in 1996. So we figured out, let's be innovative about it, and let's just get rid of it. So in June 21, exactly on the 21st June, of 21, we made a bold decision and we cut out all of the one-time payments for new customers. We've only left the credit card there, and it immediately exploded in our faces. Because like I remember that we did it on Friday, and on Monday when we got back to the offices and when we looked at on the acquisition rates, like it just went completely down. And there were three main reasons why that happened, and three main reasons on which we started to work very hard, and these three reasons have also been mentioned here already. So the first barrier that we faced was that customers expect more payment methods. And like Blik is so strong on the Polish market that if you don't have Blik, like customers get frustrated. And it was not only about a drop-off. So we immediately noticed like a very high drop-off on the payment step. So when we were presenting like how the customer can pay, there was like a significant increase. But also we were getting one-star reviews on Google just because we didn't offer Blik payments. So it's a difficult one to cope with, as we've discussed today. Like there is no alternative to credit card, like to card payments in Poland. Blik is working on something, but Blik has been working on it for 3 years now. So hopefully, like we have some high hopes that there will be progress with that, but it requires a lot of work from all the banks in Poland. But there are just little alternatives. PayPal is a difficult one, especially for D2C subscriptions as well. So the only thing we're left with are card payments. And the solutions that we can provide here is, and what we did was to just make it as easy to pay with card as possible, like work with a strong partner like Stripe, just improve the UX and the process. But also one thing that we started doing was to explain to our customers why we didn't offer them Blik payments. So anytime a customer would write or call in, we'd just explain why it's so important for us to have your card so that we can take like the responsibility for providing the boxes so that you never miss a box. And it helped. We were able to convince a lot of customers through our customer lab to sign up. Secondly, security, we've already discussed that. Like we don't feel too confident providing our card information online. Yes? Oh, sorry. Yeah, so that's a tough one. We've all heard these stories of big companies where there were huge leaks of credit card information and you could just find them online. So yeah, that was a tough one for us as well. But there is a lot we can do. So first of all, again, like picking a good partner, and we work with Stripe. This is the leader in payment processing industry. We make sure that we are PCI compliant. We make sure that none of our employees has ever had any contact with credit card information. Trust is super important as well, making sure that we showcase all of these great reviews and testimonials that we're getting from our customers, showing that there is actually like a company that has thousands of customers behind them that have opted in for the payment and weren't scammed, but also educating the customers. And we've talked about chargebacks today for a while. For some, they work, for some, they don't. But we were also making the extra step of telling our customers that, in fact, credit card payment is more secure than Blik, because with Blik you can't do a chargeback on a payment, and with credit card you can. So yeah, security is an important one as well. And lastly, even if we convince the customer to pay, like another question for the audience, but who has in this room like ever had to do like a 3D secure challenge on your phone or anywhere, paying anywhere online? So when you're asked to provide your credit card information, that you had to complete an action on your phone or at your bank. Probably like everyone who was paying online, because right now in the European Union, we are also faced not only with GDPR that we all love, but with PSD2, which is also great, because PSD2 requires us to do like a 3D secure challenge. Anytime a customer wants to provide their credit card information or debit card information, we need to do a double check with their mobile device. And it's easier if you have it configured with your mobile device or an SMS code, but we had heard stories from our customers who were required to log in on their mobile phone to their bank account, do a lot of clicks, and only after that their credit card would be confirmed and we could take the payment. So that's a tough one, and the benchmark shows that 1 in 5 customers might have an issue with 3D secure completion. So another round of solutions here. First of all, let's make sure that we have a stellar tech setup, and we didn't. 2 years ago, we've discovered that with PKO BP, the biggest bank in Poland, we had a security fail in our code, which would cause like all of the challenges from that bank, and that's 50% of the market. If you look at the capital or at the amount of users, they would just be blocked because they didn't want to send their website to our iframe. So this was a big hit for us. And the moment we've resolved it, immediately better on track with acquisitions. So I encourage everyone who has like a credit card payment and subscription to just test it against a lot of banks, a lot of different solutions, because it really shows a lot of issues. And secondly, we also had a welcome team that would reach out to the customers who failed their 3D Secure Challenge, educate them, help them complete it. We've had a lot of more mature senior customers who it was the first time for them to buy something online with their debit card. So we went ahead, we helped, and we were able to secure a lot of customers. And I think that's an important one in general. If we look at subscriptions, we're looking at higher LTVs. So it really matters that we invest this additional time in getting that customer in, because the moment we get them in, like the LTV will be, a good recognition for that, a good reward. So was it worth it? We're still on the market. I'm standing here. We were acquired, so probably yes. And yeah, the change helped us improve the general retention by about 80%. This was really a massive improvement after the one-time payments. Secondly, of course, the moment we introduced credit-only, like card-only payments, we saw a huge increase in acquisition costs and a decline in conversion rate, but we were able to get back to the level where we were. And of course, one can disagree and say that with one-time payments, we would be like even lower with acquisition costs and even higher with conversion rates, but we were at a level that is very good for us in terms of the LTV gain that we achieved with this. And lastly, since that time, we were able to grow 9 times. We continue to grow not only as the biggest fresh brand in Poland, but as the biggest fresh brand in Europe. And we hope in 5 years to be also the biggest dog food brand across all categories, not only fresh, but also to be bigger than Pedigree and others. So yeah, thank you. Oh, it's not the end yet, sorry.
Yeah.
This is
Just one more.
Do you work on the brand PsiBufet in terms of like the whole European market? Or?
That's a tricky question. So we now work mostly as butternut box, but we also do the PsiBufet brand in specific markets, so yes.
Okay, we have just one more slide and maybe have time for a few questions. So just key conclusions that we have for you is that, first of all, think about the value for customers, the value that is underlying the whole model and that is really sustainable, that goes beyond just 20% off on subscribing. Second of all, get an understanding of how customers are purchasing and how it affects retention, because this helped massively in this PsiBufet's case. Make a decision on the model, so be brave and stick with it. And the problem that we often see is that companies try half measures. They try to make a small test on the subscription. They don't really put a lot of effort, and because of that, it doesn't work really. So like the whole idea gets thrown away, and they didn't really give any chance to it. So it takes time to work with it, and whichever case you choose, so subscription only or hybrid, be prepared that there will be customer barriers to work with, and that it will simply take months at least to take them down. Yes, and now we have 4 minutes, I think.